Hello, this is Lisa from Imagination Sisterhood Studio, and today I'm going to be showing you how to make these beautiful little pyramid flip books. It is the easiest project you can ever imagine, and there's kind of no rules. You know, they're just easy to make. They flip up, they flip down. You can do them in any color. You don't have to stack them all the same way. They can be on a stick board, or you could just use them the way they are when you're done, and I'll show you how that goes when we get to the end. I do want to make it clear that this, the design of this, the creation of this idea was Natasha of Treasure Book. So I've just taken her idea and used my papers. I did not come up with this idea, but I just think it is sweet as can be and so delightful. And I liked it so much that I decided they're going in my shop. But I made envelopes for them. So I made matching pockets for them. And there is a video for this as well. But this little treasure journal, mini journal, goes in a pocket, and then you can take it with you. You can travel with it anywhere and it doesn't get messed up. Let's get started. The first thing you are going to need is 5 to 7 pieces of paper that you like together. Sometimes that's really hard to find. I find it's hard to find. So if you are a person that is buying art journaling kits, those would be perfect because generally they're going to give you a variety of papers that all go together. So that might be the best way to start. If you're not good at coordinating, pick something that's go to Etsy, buy a kit that's already coordinated, and that way you don't have to figure it out of what goes with what. And I'm very matchy, so it's important to me. I see some people make these and they use magazine pages and they use all kinds of stuff. But anyway, I like matchy, so that's my thing. So you're going to take 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. You're actually going to need 8 paid papers. And they're going to have to be different sizes. And we're going to cut them in progressively smaller pieces. So I'll show you what that looks like. All right, so I took the time to cut all my papers off camera, so you didn't have to sit with me while I did that. The cutting of the papers, I have them all, so you can see this one's 8.5 by 11. This one is 7 3/4 by 10, 7 by 8.5. The sizes are not important. I just put them on there so you could see. What is important is that each paper is at least a 1/2 inch smaller than the one before it. Okay, so each one of these is at least a 1/2 inch total width. So this one is 8 wide. This is 8.5 by 11. So this one is 7 3/4 by 10. So you can see how much smaller it is. The next one is, again, it's 7 by 8.5, so 8.5. So you can see it's just smaller. The important thing is that it's smaller, all right? So that you don't need these numbers. Just cut it a 1/2 inch smaller, sometimes 3/4 inch smaller, just so that they all are getting smaller each piece you go. All right. If you want to ink, now is the time to ink. So I did ink the white ones. If you're an inker, I didn't ink the dark ones because I don't think they need it. It is really hard to ink this when you're done. So if you are an inker, now is the time to ink. Go ahead and pause the video and ink your sheets. What's next? The rest from here on in is really easy. So we're going to take all of our pieces, set them aside. And we're going to start with our bottommost piece. And all we're going to do is fold it in half. And fold it in half. What I like about this project too is I'm finding that I'm using papers that I wouldn't normally use. This is not something, I can't imagine any other project I would use this in. It's just not my style. It's not my taste, but I love it behind all these other papers. So I find this is a project. There's two projects that I have. This one and the pocket notes are both papers that are both projects that I'm finding that I can use up some of those papers that I wouldn't normally like or wouldn't normally use, which is really nice, because if you're a paper crafter like I am, and I love paper, love paper, you always have papers that you don't like. You know, it comes in a kit, and you like the first three and you don't like the next two and whatever. So it's really nice to have these projects that you can use on papers that you don't like. I'm sure you can't see, but already it just didn't fold quite right. If that happens, you have one of two choices. I'm just going to ink it. But in some cases, if it's really obvious, I'll just trim that little bit off. There's no rule. You can trim these even after they're done. You can get this all done. You can say, you know what? I would like that middle one a little smaller, and then you can trim it up. That's our first one. It's done. That's all the harder this project is. Now we're taking the second one, and we're just going to repeat this however many papers you decide you want in your flip pyramid. Oh, that's a place that needs to be inked. So don't forget to ink your folds, because you can't get in and ink them later. I didn't need to ink the brown one because it wouldn't show. Fold it in half and fold it in half. That's all we're doing over and over and over again. So one of the things that you want to look for, if you like the coordinated look and you want things to look like it goes together, here's a couple things you want to look for. You want exactly the same colors. Sometimes you can go lighter shades are fine, but for the most part, you want exactly the same colors. So the browns in here are almost exactly the same. The peaches are almost exactly the same. They're so close that you can't tell the difference. So you're looking for prints that have very, very similar or same colors. The next thing you're looking for is different sizes of things. So you've got this little tiny dot, and then I've got these big flowers next to it. So it provides a real contrast, and so that's what makes it pop. All right, and that gives you that nice, I don't know, it's just a blendy, it just looks coordinated. See, I'm not liking that. That still has a little bit of white there, and I am just going to trim that off because I can tell I'm going to see it every single time, and every single time it's going to bother me. So I'm just going to trim off that little tiny bit where it doesn't work right, and that's okay. It's like okay that it didn't fold perfectly. You want to fold it as perfectly as you can, but sometimes it just doesn't fold perfectly, and I'm okay with that. All right, so we've got two done. Let's keep moving forward. Here's our blue. All right, so this is a nice, the first two papers that I have, they are predominantly brown and pinky peachy color. On the first paper, it's hard to see, but there is a little tiny blue. And I always like a little contrast in there. So if I can find a color that's in it, that's a contrast. This one also, I don't know if you can see, but it's just not lining up right. I don't care. Just going to trim it off. Not going to be picky about it. A lot of times if you're folding paper, it's going to not fold right, so that's fine. All right, so this is my contrasting. You can see there's blue in there, but this is my contrasting color. And again, I need to ink my folds before I go any further. I need a little more ink here. I was trying to make this not so long, so I did so much of this off camera. And yet there's still so much to do when I go to put it together. Alrighty. Well, once you cut your paper, this project takes like 2 minutes to do. It's really easy. Now, I was fortunate that some of these came in a pad together. These came in a pad together. This came in a different pad, but I liked it. Again, now this is drawing all three. This is connecting all three of these. It's got a lighter brown, which we actually haven't seen too much before. A little bit in here. We've got the turquoise in here and the turquoise in here, and it's got the peach that's in everywhere. So this is just connecting all of those. And it's also got another pattern, and the pattern is a different size from the previous two patterns. The bottom pattern was very tiny. The middle pattern was kind of big, and this one's kind of in between those. So it makes it the perfect complementary paper to go in this project. Oh, you know what? That's what I'm not doing, and it really makes a difference. Fold it over twice. I forgot to do that the last time. It's not that important, but it really does, it aligns better if you fold it over twice. And you can use a bone folder. You can also use, if you don't have one, don't go out and buy one. I use the back of my scissors a lot because I've already got my scissors out. Now let's try this again. Oh yes, that folds much better, and I have way less overlap. So my mistake, make sure you fold it both ways twice. Okay, yep, that looks good. So you can see, drawing it all together, looking good. Now we have another big pink one. And again, folding it in half. Inking it, gotta ink the fold where I forget. I've had to go back and ink one that's already done, and that is really a mess. It does not work well, it's very hard. Definitely need to ink as I go. And then we're going to fold it again. And get it nice tight fold. Oops, ink. There we go. Open it up. Fold it longwise again. And fold it over. And this is when you need to go back and make sure your creases are nice and tight. You also want to use thinner paper on this. Cardstock is not good for this. You want to use thin papers. Cardstock will not fold nice and tight, and your little flip book will end up standing straight up. Alrighty, getting down to the end. Folding it in half. Folding it in half again. Get that nice crease in there. Nice crease. We don't need to ink this one because it's brown. Oh, but got a little problem going on down here. A little goofiness. We can fix that once we crease it with the bone folder or the back of your scissor. It gets a little better when you do that. I am just going to ink that a little bit. I'm not going to bother cutting that one off. It's not too bad. And we have one more. I may decide when I get this all done that I want one more, but I will decide that after I put this all together. This is the last one. So I did 7. You can do 5. You can do 3. You can start with any size you want. You can start with a 6x8 piece of paper and just cut a 5x7, and a 5x7 would be a 6x4 or whatever it is. Just make it smaller. Just keep getting smaller. You can go all the way down till it's a little tiny piece if you want. That's completely fine. In fact, I may do that on this one just to be fun. Haven't done that before. Haven't made a teeny tiny fold. Oh, I forgot again. Fold it in half this way. Nice good crease. Ink it. All right. Fold it back. Crease it again. Making sure it's inked. And we've got our pyramid ready. All of our papers are folded and ready to go. The next thing you need to do, and this is really important, is make sure that all of the folded sides are going in the same direction. So the fold side on your left hand. So here's my fold, and it's open on the bottom and open on the right. So folded, open, open. That one's correct and ready. Here we have, that one's going the wrong way. Forgot to fold it back again. Now we're correct. Knew that didn't feel right when I was talking about it. All right, so they have to go folded longwise. So you want the double fold on the left, the single fold on the top. So I have the double fold on the left, the single fold on the top. Check each one. Double fold on the left, single fold on the top. Double, single, double, single, double, single, double, single. They're all going the right way. If you glue it the other way, your book is not going to open. So that's why they have to be all the double folds on the left and all the single folds on the top. From here, we're just going to glue it together. There is no magic recipe for gluing it together. I saw someone glue them all up into the corner like this. She just did kind of a pyramid in the corner, which was kind of cool. Like that. And I may do that with this one. I think it works if you do it, if you rotate them. I think it still works. At least Natasha showed it and it worked that way. Let me see if I open this up this way. Yeah, it'll still work if you do it spiral. So if you want to do it spiral, that's completely fine. I did one, I don't know if it's right here, but I did one where I kind of put them all up towards the top. And that allowed me to put like words and stuff down here, or you could put tabs in there. But I think I kind of like this one. For some reason, I'm liking this one in the corner. So that's what I'm going to do. But absolutely, this one is all glued in the center. So just totally play with it. That's the thing I like about this is no rules. All right, I'm seeing a little white here. Don't want to see white because once I glue it, I can't fix it. I didn't really ink this one because it was dark, but I'm going to go ahead and ink it anyway, just in case. Looks like I need a new inker. It's kind of shedding here all over my workspace. Okay, we are ready to glue. Where does this one go? I think this one goes here. Yes, we are ready to glue. Now you are going to, the last thing. If you have, and I don't have any in here, so let me see if I can find something to show you. If you have a paper that has an upside down, an upside down and a right side up, you want to make sure that when you open it this way, it's right side up. And all that means is you have to fold your paper the other direction. So that's the only other thing. And it's not the end of the world. I have ones that are upside down. It's not the end of the world. But if you care, make sure when you open it up, your papers are going the right side up. All right. We're ready to glue. So let's set all of them aside. But one, we're ready with our base. And we are going to take the next bigger one. And some glue. I use art glitter glue. I like it because it glues hard and fast. And you don't need a lot. Oh, it got gunked up, though, during the night. It was really gunked up yesterday, and I couldn't get anything to come out of it. I had to take the nozzle off and wash it, which happens. I think I left the pin out too long yesterday when I was working. Let's see if we can get this to work. Folded, folded. We're good. Okay, yep, there it goes. And you're just going to put glue all around the edge. Plenty of glue, and then you are going to glue it. Oops, didn't get my pin in. I think for these videos I should have a cap because it's really hard to get that pin in. All right, I'm going to put it up towards the corner just because that's where I've decided I wanted it. And I'm going to make sure it's equidistant from here and here. Okay, so there you can see it's the same. And it's wider here and wider here because I shoved it up to the corner. And we're just going to do that to all of our pieces. Oh, I have a little piece of stuff in here. I think I'm going to put it in between these two blue layers, though, so I'll wait. You can put lace in between your layers. You can do anything to this. You can dress it up however you want. I'm not going to dress it up too much because I don't want to take that long on this video. I just wanted to get it out there so you could see this cool project, how much fun it is, how easy it is to do. I think this would be a great project to do with kids, you know, like maybe 4th, 5th grade up. I think it would be a really fun project. All right, I have this little piece of cheesecloth, so I'm going to cut this because I don't want it that big. I think I'm going to cut it about here. And I'm just going to glue it in the middle, just because I can. I'm not cutting it perfectly because I don't want it to be perfect. I might like it a little inky. Let's try inking it a little bit. I think I don't want it quite so white, so let's stomp on it a little bit. Get it a little grungier. I'm sure that's plenty. Oh yes, that's much better. Just didn't want it like neon white. And I'm not even going to bother. I might put a little dab of glue in there, but I'm really not going to glue it because I'm going to glue the other next section on top of it. And the next one is also blue, so it's nice to have this kind of little bit in the middle. We're just gluing them all on. Just keep gluing them on. That's all. You can make these, you know, really obviously much smaller. You can play with the size a little bit and make it so that it fits in a standard envelope too. I custom made, I now have a template. So when I start with an 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper, the envelope is the perfect size. So I have a template to make the envelope, but you could play around with the base one and get it that's the size of a standard envelope. So you just trim it down till it's the right size of an envelope. Which one's next? I think the pink is next. And we're making sure we're putting the fold on the outside every time. Fold on the left and fold on the top. Open on the right, open on the bottom. Fold on the left, fold on the left. We're good to go. Sticking them all up in the corner there. And this one's, the white's hanging off a little bit. You can't see that. I probably, it's this page, that's the second page that's the problem. So I may just, I'm just going to trim that off now because it's going to bother me. And it's because you're folding paper. When you fold paper, something happens because of the fold, and it makes a bunchy bit. And ink that a little bit. Good enough. There we go. Not showing it all. Getting down to the end. Just continuing to glue. Nothing fancy, nothing special. Easy peasy. This is a good pajama craft. I craft a lot in my pajamas. This feels like a pajama craft. One you do on a lazy Saturday or something. You're just looking to chill out. You got your cup of coffee or your cup of tea, and you're in your PJs, and you don't want to drag out a bunch of stuff, and you don't want to think real hard. You could just make a stack of these papers that go together and put them in a folder, and then anytime you felt like doing one of these projects, you'd have all the papers together, and you could just sit down and make one. And this is the last one. And yeah, I'm feeling like I don't like, oh, that brown is hanging out white on the bottom. Gotta fix it. There we go. This pink one is a little bit goofy. Reposition it a little bit. I think I want one more. So let's see what I want on top. I'm just going to make a little tiny one on the top. Do I want that? Do I want the... the bubbles. This one's right below that, so I definitely don't want that one. Turquoise. No, do not like that. Yeah, I think I'm going to make a really tiny one. I'm just not loving that. Let's see. Where's the... I don't like any of these, but I sure would like something on the top. How about this? Do I like that? Well, I'm just going to leave it. Enough. Enough, enough, enough. All right, so we are ready. I'm trimming this off. This is too big. Okay, at this point, you can decide you're done. That's the beauty of it. You have, and so now it's all glued. It's all ready together. It's a good idea right now before it sits too long to open it all up, because sometimes the glue gets stuck to the next page. You want to give it a, yep, see right there. Yeah, it's a little gluey, so we want to open it up. Give it a chance to unstick if it got stuck. There we go. If you want to be done, you're done. And this would be perfect. Like I say, with 3 or 4 sheets, it would be perfect to put as a tuck in a pocket in your junk journal. From here, I like it to feel like it's really sturdy. And while I'm doing this, I'm going to clip it because it still wants to open a little bit. So if I clip it down now, it'll get tighter, better. All right. So I like a hardback on mine, and that way I can also put them in I make them to be put in a pocket, and that way they are very transportable. It also makes it so you can write on it wherever you are because you've got this hard surface. So I like the idea of putting the cardboard on the back. That's what I'm going to do. So here's the trick with the cardboard on the back. It's not hard. You are going to measure, take this off here. You want, that was just kind of wonky. Okay. You want your cardboard maybe 1/4 of an inch, not bigger than that. 1/4 of an inch is plenty. Bigger than your base piece. So I'm just going to mark this where it looks like 1/4. Again, I'm not measuring. It's a guesstimate. I just want it a little tiny bit bigger than the last page. That's all that is involved with doing that. So now we just have to cut it. All right, so I've cut my cardboard. It is just a tiny bit bigger. It's not an exact measure. This is not something you have to get all hung up on. It just has to be the tiniest bit bigger than your base piece. You're going to need another coordinating piece of paper. So I liked this with it. You're not going to see a whole lot of it. And that is going to cover your cardboard. So that's what I'm going to do next. I am going to put glue on my cardboard. Oh, I need to clean this nozzle. I really made a mess of it last night by not... I think I left it unplugged, and so now it's getting... Do I have a longer needle? No. It keeps getting gunked up. Let's see if we can make it work. There we go. All right, and you kind of want to get this glue close to the edge because you want it nice and solidly on. So we'll just make sure we have glue everywhere, everywhere, everywhere. Pin back in the glue. And I'm just going to stick this. Oh, so the paper. Quick talk about the paper. I cut the paper about 1 inch bigger everywhere than my cardboard. So it's 1 inch larger on all sides. Flip it over. And glue the cardboard somewhere in the middle. Again, not an exact science. And that's going to be good enough. Okay. Now, before I forget, if you want a string, there's lots of ways you can attach a string. This was something I did that's kind of different. But if you want to attach a string or a ribbon, this one has a ribbon, that needs to go in between your, generally in between something on the back or the back so that it is hidden. So this one I put a decoration on the back. One of my other ones, I have a pocket on the back, so you can glue it under there. If you're not going to decorate the back, then you need to get it in between your base cardboard and the next layer. And I always forget, so I want to cut this out. I want to cut it off and leave it here so that I don't forget, because I keep forgetting. All right. And your string you're going to want to wrap around, I think, twice. So I'm just going to kind of fake it here. I want it to go around and around, and I need a bunch to tie. So if you want a better measure, you need a tail of about 6 to 8 inches. 1, 2, 3, and a tie. Okay. So this is longer than I need, but that's fine. Better longer than I need than shorter. All right, this is dry. The next thing we need to do is come in here and just cut at an angle, about a 45-degree angle from the corners. Again, not a science. About 45. And it's best if you leave just about an 1/8 to 1/4 of an inch not cut there, because we're going to fold that under so the cardboard doesn't stick out. And just cut it not quite to the edge of your cardboard, little tiny bit, just a little edge. And all our pieces are done. And now we're going to go around, and you can use your base of your scissor if you want. You can use a bone folder. Fold this up. I like to use my finger because I can get in there really tight. And I can feel whether the paper is folded in the right place or not. All right. We are ready to glue this in place. And I'm going to glue the long sides first, and I'm also going to run a little bit of glue right along the cardboard there, just to make sure that that little edge is sticking. And then I'm going to run some glue around the flap and in the middle. I'm going to fold it over, make sure it's nice and tight so you get a good seal. And then we're going to go where that little piece overlapped and just kind of put your finger. It's just going to be a little tiny piece that overlapped there. Just kind of get your finger in there and push it down a little bit. And that way it'll cover the cardboard corner. And we're going to do the same thing on this side. Run a bead along the cardboard, just a little tiny bead along the cardboard, up around your edges, and one in the middle. Fold it over nice and tight. Make sure it's tight around your corner. Go ahead and put your finger on that little edge each way. Get that folded in there a little bit. And we are ready to glue the top and the bottom. The same thing. Around the edge. And now when you fold this over, it should, that little piece that you tucked in there should fold under with this flap and cover over the cardboard. See? Same thing on this side. Cap on my glue. Gotta remember the cap on the glue, otherwise the glue dries up. Last one, nice and tight. Yep, my little tucked corners did perfectly. All right, I do want my string underneath. So now we're gonna glue this on here. See how pretty that looks? And I want this to go around and come back and around and come back. Is that correct? Yes, around the back. Nope, did it the wrong way. I want these both to come around the back. There we go. All right. I want it to go around the back first. Oops. Come forward. Wrap it around. Oh, I might even go a third one. It's so thin. Yeah, I like 3 better. And then we tie it in a knot or a bow. I got some extra string. I'm going to leave the string a little long because I've got pretty dexterous fingers. Other people don't. So since this is for purchase, I want to make sure that people are able to retie it themselves. I don't need it this long, but other people may need it this long just to be able to retie it. And that is completed. You can now turn it over. Most of mine, like I say, have a pocket on the back. So you can add pockets. You can add, I've got some rickrack trim. Oh, look at that. Isn't that adorable? Definitely doing that. So I'm going to put some rickrack on here. I like to cut a piece of this while I'm talking. I think I'm going to put it on this side. I like to go in and add, once I cut this, I'll show you in one of mine. I like to go in and add lined paper. So I either go in and stencil on lined paper or I glue in lined paper, and there's lots of places to put little bits of ephemera, little bits of, again, lined paper. You can stencil inside your pages. That works really well because it doesn't add any more bulk. You have to be careful putting too much more paper inside because then it gets so thick that it won't close. Your papers will start standing up. Move this down. Adorable! Oh my gosh, I love it. I think I want just decoration. I'm going to cut one of these little circles out. Do I want a big one or a small one? And just put it on there for decoration. I think it needs to be a darker one, that's for sure. I think I want the really dark ones. Let's pick a really dark one. Can I get to one? Yes, here. And I think I'm going to make it look like a button as a decoration. Anyway, that's the whole project. Now, if you like the idea of the envelopes, oh yes, that's really adorable. And I will put some holes in that, and I will probably back it with something so it is actually button thickness. So let's put it on some cardstock somewhere. I just wanted to have a little depth, that's all. And I could sit here and play with this and do extras all day long. So you don't need to watch me do all my extra stuff. But as you can see, that little bit of rickrack made a huge difference. This little button looks just delightful on there. I mean, really, really cute, and add something. So then, you know, you play with it a little bit and you say, okay, you know, I'd like to decorate this a little bit. Let me get some other ephemera. Let me get some flowers. Let me get some ribbon or lace, or like I did, rickrack. I'm going to put some big holes in there. There we go. Ink it a little bit because I don't want to see the white on the edge. And we'll put the thread in here, kind of a little extra thread going. My poor husband just came in and I'm flagging, don't come in, I'm filming, I'm taping. Where did my little poker thing go? I would normally use a needle for this. If this goes in the first time, I'll be happy. Yes, it did. Pull that through. Poke it in. Oops. Oh, it went in the first time so easily, and the second one's not going to go. There we go. Pull it through. Wonderful. I'm just going to tie it in a knot. I just wanted to repeat that, again, just like I was talking about your papers. I'm repeating a color, I'm repeating a pattern, I'm repeating a theme, and it just gives some continuity to your project. This button is totally decorative. It is not going to do anything at all, but it is adorable. All right, so I only need one. Well, that's what I did. I lined this up so I could see where it went, and then I forgot to glue it. Let's go back. Sorry. My bad. So I just want to lay this across here and see. I want it to go around. Let's make this one go around once, and this one will go around twice. 1, 2, 3. Yes, that's perfect. Okay, so now I know where I want to glue it, so I'm just going to take this off. Oops. Hold this there so I know where it goes. So I want it about there. And I'm going to use a little strip of paper on that first. I don't think, because it's little skinny thread, I really don't think it's going to hold by itself. I'm going to take a little piece of paper here, make sure it's got lots of glue where the string goes. And what I like to do is make a little loop, and that way the paper catches more of the thread, because the thread's so fine that it would really come out easily. So I don't want it to come out easily. So I just put a little loop on there. And let's make sure it's lined up. Let's see, that's where it came out on that side. I'm lining it up with my little circles. This is not going to show, so it doesn't matter where I put it. Glue it down. And that's going to hold my yarn, my string, my ribbon, whatever you want to use on there. It's going to hold it in place. And now we are going to glue this onto the cardboard base that you just prepared. I'm going to add a little glue here where the string goes, just give it one more reinforcement. Whoops, didn't want to do that. Making sure my string's straight, and then I can flip it over. Line it up the right way, push it down. And put my pin in my glue. You can let this, if you want, it'll go flatter if you like leave it overnight with a book on it. And there you go. That's your project. It is all done. Let's wrap it up. Ready to go. This one's going around and around and around, and this one's going around. Tying it in a knot or a bow. Somehow I gotta, there we go. Tying the bow. And we're good to go. Isn't that adorable? I hope you enjoyed this video. If you do, please like and comment and share. You can find me at Imagination Sisterhood Studio on Facebook, and you can find me at Lisa Stearns Artist on Instagram. Thanks so much for joining me. So I mentioned you can put lined paper in your pyramid flip book. I did finish it out here. So it's all done. I changed out the string because I didn't like it. I wanted something with a little more decorative option there. I added some other little features here. I've got a little sticker there. But here's where you can add your lined paper. So when you open up your pages, you can put a lined paper on each one of those if you want to. I stuck a little phrase in there about dream because I put dream on the front. This one's obviously very nice, large paper. And then on the back, because I cut the string off, I now just added a circle of one of these circles and I glued it right on top of the ribbon. So that's another option of a way to add ribbon. And then you just stick your tags. It's a pocket, so you can stick your tags right in there and fill it with goodies. So I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please like and share, comment, subscribe. Don't forget that you can also check out my envelope pouches for these, and they are the exact measurements that you need for an 8.5 by 11 starting page. And your little flip book fits right in there. Thanks for crafting with me. This is Lisa and Imagination Sisterhood Studio.